Okay, so we had a school shooting, the Parkland school shooting. I know you've been covering it. Maybe you could just introduce to us the various options of what might have happened.
Okay. Well, like so many other school shootings, now that we have independent media, many contradictions and questions leak out, which in the old days never happened. A person at the school, a witness, I believe it was a teacher, who claims that she saw the shooter wearing armor. What is this? This has nothing to do with anybody else's account of what happened. We have reports from several witnesses, and I'm told that a couple of videos have been scrubbed out of YouTube that talk about multiple shooters, which is a recurring theme in many of these school shootings.
Right.
Of course, the police, the FBI, law enforcement has nothing to say about this, just as they had nothing to say about the Vegas shooting and many reports there of multiple shooters in different locations, including
Right.
different hotels on the very night of the shooting.
Right.
So we have all these anomalies and contradictions. And then, of course, the question either always or often arises, is the shooter named by law enforcement the actual shooter, or is he a patsy of some kind who has been killed or arrested, in the wake of the shooting? Such information keeps leaking out to the point where when we look at the corporate media account of what happened in this shooting and others, we get the flavor of spoiled food. This is the hashed over, spoiled
Right.
meal that's been sitting around for days that is suddenly served up to the public as being authoritative. And more and more and more people are disbelieving what is being served to them on a platter
Right.
as the shootings keep on happening.
Right. Now, I went back and looked at the history of school shootings, and they started, believe it or not, in the colonial time. But you have really two patterns. One is, one kid gets angry at a teacher and brings in a gun, and, when one person shoots another. But then you have these spectacular school shootings where it's clearly a false flag, and some say in some instances it's just staged. That nobody died, there was no real shooting, it was just a staged event, which sounds bizarre when you hear it, but when you look at the price of engineering a false flag where 20 people die and the liabilities of dealing with their families, at some point you can see why it would be easier to sort of organize and stage these things. So there's also that fact pattern. But if you look back, the growth of the spectacular school shooting is a relatively recent phenomena. Really, the 60s, it's basically the death of Kennedy on, or I should say the group that killed Kennedy got control of the machinery and, they were off and running.